Me and Jenna had been together almost 5 years, engaged for 3 of those. I honestly thought our relationship was solid. We had a whole wedding planned out, venue booked, menu selected, flowers chosen, outfits paid for, the works. Everything looked set. At least that's what I believed. Turns out I was living in a completely different reality than she was. About 6 weeks before the wedding, she suddenly tells me she's going on some once-in-a-lifetime trip to Europe with her old college friends. A girls' tour, she called it. Museums, beaches, road trips, whatever. And look, I wasn't going to stop her. I'm not that guy. I told her she should go if she wanted, and I even drove her to the airport, carried her luggage, kissed her goodbye, and wished her a great time. That's when she blindsides me. Right there, while walking her to security, she hits me with this quiet, casual, almost throwaway line. I think we should take a break. Just like that. No conversation. No warning. No emotion. Drops it like she's asking me to pick up milk from the store. I stood there stunned, unable to process what she meant. I opened my mouth to ask questions, but she was already walking into the TSA line, giving me this tiny wave like we just talked about the weather. And that was it. She disappeared behind the security gates, leaving me standing there like an idiot. I convinced myself she must have been stressed. Maybe it wasn't serious. Maybe she just panicked about the wedding and blurted something dumb. So I drove home confused, tried calling her later that night, and got nothing. No response, no receipt. I tried again, straight to voicemail. Then I checked my social media. Blocked. Every single place. Instagram? Blocked. Facebook? Blocked. WhatsApp? Blocked. iMessage? Blocked. Even freaking Pinterest? Blocked. That's when it hit me. That break wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was deliberate. The first 5 days were torture. I was sick with worry, angry, confused, wondering what the hell I had done wrong. But after almost a week of radio silence, something inside me snapped. I realized I wasn't going to sit there like some abandoned pet waiting for its owner to come home. So I made my decision. Wedding, canceled. Vendors, canceled. Venue, canceled. Florist, canceled. Suit fittings, canceled. We had planned for her to move in with me in March. Yeah. No, that wasn't happening either. If she wanted to take a break, she could take a break from my life permanently. For weeks I heard nothing, not a single call, not a single text, not one message from overseas. She was partying across Europe like nothing had happened while I dealt with the wreckage back home. Then out of nowhere, boom, my phone rings. Unknown number? I answer. It's her. Her voice is calm, like she's calling after a regular vacation. She tells me her flight lands Thursday morning and gives me the arrival time like she expects me to be waiting with flowers. She never apologized, never explained anything. Just acted like the last 6 weeks didn't exist. So I said, and what's that got to do with me? Silence. Beautiful silence. Before she could spit out some excuse, I hung up and blocked that number too. Later that day, I posted in our group chat, the one with her family, my family, our close friends, letting everyone know the wedding was canceled and so was the relationship. No drama, just facts. Of course, everyone had questions. I told them what happened, how she left, how she blocked me, how she vanished. People were shocked. Some angry for me. Some said they always felt she wasn't ready for commitment. It was nice to know I wasn't crazy. Then Jenna finally joined the chat hours later. She didn't apologize. She just said, "Can you call me? We should talk privately." Nope. She wanted to disappear privately. She could face consequences publicly. I told her to explain herself in the chat. She didn't like that. She said the breakup wasn't anyone else's business, but she made it everyone's business when she walked out weeks before our wedding without a single word. She tried messaging me a few more times, still refusing to take responsibility. At one point, she even asked me to pick her up from the airport, like I was supposed to be waiting there with open arms. I told her, that was your plan. Not mine. And honestly, that was the moment I realized she never expected consequences. She thought she could come back, cry a bit, blame stress, and everything would magically be fine. But I was done. The man she left at the airport was gone. She didn't recognize the one who answered her call. The next morning, I started rebuilding my life, canceling shared accounts, changing locks, separating finances, all the boring but necessary stuff. And yeah, I even started searching for a solo vacation of my own. If she could run away for 6 weeks, why shouldn't I? And just when things were finally starting to calm down, the real chaos began. I thought once the wedding was canceled and everyone knew the truth, things would finally calm down. I figured Jenna would do what she always did: avoid confrontation, hide behind silence, pretend nothing happened until the dust settled. Yeah? No. Apparently that was too easy. The first explosion came from someone I didn't even expect: Emily, one of our mutual friends. She's usually neutral, the type who avoids drama like it's a contagious disease. But this time, she hesitated before messaging me, like she didn't want to be involved but felt obligated. She sends me a screenshot. A whole conversation from another group chat, one I wasn't in. Jenna and her little entourage were in there talking about the breakup. And the way she twisted the story? Unreal. According to her, she was overwhelmed by wedding stress. She just needed space, and she didn't expect the break to last so long. She made it sound like she left me a thoughtful note saying, "Hey babe, I need to think," then hopped on a plane to meditate with monks in Italy. Reality? She blocked me. For 6 straight weeks. Not a single word, no explanation, no check-in. But the thing that really pissed me off was what she wrote next. I thought he'd understand. I just needed clarity. Clarity? You needed clarity, so you blocked your fiancé 6 weeks before your wedding? I felt my blood pressure skyrocket just reading that garbage. She was trying to make herself the victim again. She even wrote, "He canceled everything before I could talk to him." Yeah, because you blocked me everywhere. Genius. After reading that nonsense, I knew I had to shut it down before she rewrote the entire story. So I jumped into the main group chat, the one with both families and all close friends, and posted, "Just so everyone knows, Jenna decided we were taking a break without talking to me, blocked me on everything, and disappeared for 6 weeks. I canceled the wedding because I refused to marry someone who ghosts me." The replies came in instantly. People were stunned. Her cousins, her aunts, my friends. Even her own sister reacted with disbelief. Jenna stayed quiet for almost an hour. Maybe she was panicking. Maybe she was crying. Maybe she was crafting the perfect excuse. Then she finally typed, "We should talk privately." Nope, we weren't doing that. She made everything messy in private. She could face the reality in public. I wrote back, "Explain here." She didn't. She just wrote some vague, useless line about things got complicated. No accountability. No apology. Just trying to save face. Then something surprising happened. My buddy Jake jumped in. He said, "Jenna, you can't disappear for 6 weeks and expect a wedding to still happen. That's not how relationships work." I swear I could have hugged that man. But then enter Megan. Now, Megan is one of those friends Jenna kept around because she always co-signs her bad decisions. The textbook enabler. She jumps in defending Jenna like she's a saint. She says stuff like, "Wedding pressure is a lot. She just needed time. You shouldn't have canceled so fast. She's been going through so much," emotionally. And that's when I lost it. I replied, "With all due respect, Megan, you weren't in the relationship. She didn't ask for time. She blocked me. She cut me off completely. I tried calling, texting, everything. She gave me no option. I'm not waiting for someone who literally removed me from her life." Chat went dead silent. Even Megan couldn't spin that one. But oh, it wasn't over. A couple days later, I get a call from Jenna's sister, Rachel. We'd always gotten along, so I thought maybe she was calling to check on me. Nope. She came in guns blazing. "Why would you cancel the wedding without talking to Jenna first?" I literally laughed. Rachel, how was I supposed to talk to her when she blocked me everywhere? She didn't have an answer. She just kept repeating. She was stressed. She panicked. Like stress justifies disappearing from your fiancé. I said, if Jenna had doubts, she should have talked to me. That's how adults work. Rachel eventually backed off, but it was clear she was still defending her sister. Then later that night, Jenna texted me from a new number, long paragraphs, crying emojis, apologizing for how things went, but not apologizing for what she actually did. She wrote, I didn't know how to tell you I needed space. I panicked. I was confused about the wedding, but I never meant to hurt you. Then the kicker, I still want to get married. Yeah, after ghosting me, after blocking me everywhere, after ignoring me for 6 weeks. I didn't bother responding, blocked the new number, deleted the message. Done. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something close to peace. But apparently, Jenna wasn't finished. She still had more chaos to unleash. Just when I thought blocking Jenna again would finally shut the whole thing down, life decided to remind me that drama doesn't die quietly, especially not her drama. 2 days after I ghosted her new number, my phone rings with a call from someone I never expected. Her mom, Lisa. Now let me paint this picture for you. Lisa is the kind of woman who will sugarcoat a knife before she stabs you with it. She's polite, soft-spoken, and somehow every compliment feels like she's telling you to do better. So when I answered the call and she hit me with, "Hi, sweetheart, how are you doing?" I knew instantly this was not going to be a friendly check-in. I said, flat as possible, "I'm fine, Lisa. What's going on?" And that's when she unleashed the guilt trip bomb. We were also looking forward to the wedding. Sarah has been crying every day since she got home. She's devastated. I almost rolled my eyes into another dimension. I said, "Lisa, I'm sorry Sarah is upset, but she made her choices." And then Lisa said the one line that made my jaw clench. "Maybe you overreacted a bit." Overreacted. Because apparently being blocked for 6 weeks is just a small misunderstanding. She kept going. Sarah was under a lot of stress. Wedding nerves are normal. People make mistakes. Yeah, losing the rings or arguing over colors is a mistake. Ghosting your fiancé across an entire continent is not wedding stress. I said, "Lisa, she didn't just panic. She cut me off. If she had doubts, she should have talked to me." But Lisa doubled down. "Don't you think you should give her a second chance?" Nope, I absolutely did not think that. Then, as if the conversation wasn't already insane, she hits me with, "Well, if you won't talk to Sarah, why don't you come over for dinner? We can work through this as a family meeting." Over a breakup she caused? I ended the call fast. Told her it was best for everyone to move on. But guess what? The next day, her dad texted me, "Tom, the old school, must be right, stone-faced guy who never liked me anyway." His message said something like, "You should stand by your fiancé. Men don't run at the first sign of trouble. Men don't run." Your daughter sprinted to Europe like she was in a marathon and blocked me midair. I didn't reply. Anything I said would have turned into a pointless back and forth, and I was done with their denial. But apparently, Jenna's family wasn't done with me. Because 2 days later, a long message pops up on my phone from another unknown number. Yep, it was Jenna. Again. This time, it was a novel. Paragraph after paragraph of, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I panicked. I should have communicated." But none of it actually took responsibility. It was all, "I didn't mean to, and you misunderstood, and I was overwhelmed." Then she dropped the real bomb. "I still want to get married." This woman really thought a single apology erased 6 weeks of absolute silence. She really believed we could have a fairy tale wedding after she ghosted her groom. I didn't respond. Didn't explain. Didn't argue. I blocked the number. Thought that would be the end of it. Spoiler, it wasn't. Because the next day, Katie, one of her bridesmaids, texted. Katie, the one who's always in everyone's business, always the first to stir a pot, always acting like she's the CEO of other people's relationships. Her message started sweet. Hey, haven't talked in a while. Just checking in. I replied short. I'm fine. And she immediately switched to the script. I think you should hear Sarah out. Here we go again. I said, I already heard her out for 5 years. She ignored me for 6 weeks. Katie kept pushing, talking about how Sarah was too scared to reach out. She reached out fine when asking for a break, though, saying she didn't know how to talk to me. Funny how she knew how to talk to her friends, to social media, to literally everyone except me. I told Katie, it's done. Please stop, and blocked her too. But Sarah was determined. She wasn't sending messages now. She was sending people. The next messenger? Her cousin, Mark. He texts like it's urgent, asks to meet for coffee. I don't know why I agreed. Maybe curiosity, maybe boredom. Maybe I just wanted to see how far Jenna would go. We meet, and the guy looks like he just stepped out of a job interview. Nervous, sweaty palms, trying to act casual. He starts with small talk, then finally gets to it. Sarah thinks she made a mistake. She wants to try again. I almost choked on my drink. I said, Mark, she didn't make a mistake. She made a choice. And that choice didn't include me. He kept pushing gently, like he was trained for this. Maybe if you gave it time. Maybe you two could fix things. Maybe you acted too quickly. I stopped him right there. Mark, I didn't hear from her for 6 weeks. What exactly was I supposed to fix? He finally backed off, apologized, and left. I thought that was the final messenger. Nope. The next day, I get another message from her aunt. A woman I'd spoken to maybe twice in my entire life. Her message. Basically, Hallmark movie monologue about love being worth fighting for and how relationships survive challenges. Lady, your niece is the challenge. I blocked her too. And finally, silence, peace. For the first time in over 2 months, I wasn't getting messages from Jenna, her bridesmaids, cousins, siblings, or distant relatives. I thought it was over. But I had a nitrogen monoxide idea. Jenna still had one more thing hidden up her sleeve, something that would take this whole mess from annoying. After weeks of silence from Jenna and every human being connected to her, I finally started to relax. I actually slept peacefully for the first time in months. No guilt-tripping texts. No surprise calls. No hear her out speeches from strangers. Life felt normal again. But of course, that didn't last. Because one afternoon I opened my mailbox, and there it is. A letter. Not a bill. Not an ad. A handwritten letter with my name on it. My stomach dropped. I recognized the handwriting immediately. Jenna. At first, I actually laughed. Who writes letters in 2025? But when I opened it, the laughter died real quick. It wasn't a note. It was a full-blown confession novel. Pages of emotional spiraling, apologies, excuses, and desperate attempts to rewrite everything that happened. She wrote about how she couldn't breathe and needed space and felt overwhelmed. She wrote about being scared of being a wife and how Europe helped her think. But the absolute wild part? She wrote this. I still have the key to your apartment. My entire body froze. The same key I forgot she ever took. The same key that in her mind still meant she had access to my life. I immediately got up, checked the locks, then changed them again the next day. I didn't play around after that. But the letter got worse. Toward the end, she wrote, I already booked us an appointment with a couples counselor. We can fix this. She didn't ask. She didn't suggest. She didn't even check if I was willing. She just planned our reconciliation, like we were still together, like she still had a say in my life. That was the moment I realized Jenna didn't want me. She wanted control. So I wrote her back. One final letter, short, direct, no softness. I told her we were done. There was no counseling, no fresh start, no fixing anything. I told her to return the key. Told her to move on. Told her to leave me alone. Mailed it. Felt relieved. Thought that was it. But then, about a week later, I get another letter from her. Shorter, colder, scarier. She wrote, "I drove by your apartment twice. You weren't home." And that's when the real fear hit me. She wasn't reminiscing. She wasn't apologizing. She was watching me, checking when I was gone, showing up uninvited, monitoring my schedule. My heart was pounding reading it. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. It was obsession. I knew I had to do something. But before I could act, something even worse happened. She visited my mom. Showed up at her house, unannounced, crying, begging, asking my own mother to convince me to take her back. My mom, God bless her, didn't fall for it, but she sounded shaken when she called me. "Honey, she's not okay. And you need to be careful." That was the last straw. I went to my landlord, asked for upgraded security, cameras, anything. Then I went to the courthouse, filed for a restraining order, not because I wanted revenge, not because I hated her, because she wouldn't stop, wouldn't accept the breakup, was crossing boundaries that should never be crossed. When Jenna got served with the paperwork, everything finally went silent. No more messages. No more letters. No more drive-bys. No more relatives harassing me. No more guilt trips. Nothing. She vanished from my life as fast as she left for Europe. And for the first time in a long time, I could breathe. I took time for myself. Went on a trip. Reconnected with friends. Found myself again. Learned how to set boundaries and keep them. I realized something huge, something I probably should have learned long ago. You don't owe your sanity to someone who disrespects you. You don't owe someone loyalty they never gave you. You don't owe anyone your peace. Jenna didn't destroy my life. She taught me how to protect it. And honestly, walking away was the best thing I ever did. Her chapter is closed, locked, done, and I'm finally living mine.